Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by FanDuel and Oak Bridge Wealth Management. I'm Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Bernie, how are we doing today?
We're doing well, man. Matt Perkins, it's a holiday. Every time I see your face on the podcast, we're bringing on someone who I have a lot of respect for, but watched him literally destroy the Jets over and over and over again. It was a fun day for, I'm sure, the Patriots, but not for the Jets. And we're going to talk a little Oregon, it's exciting, I think. I hope it's a downpour, rain, terrible day, so we only lose by 40, and maybe somebody will bet the under. I don't know. We got a lot to cover.
Ooh, we can talk a little bit about that a little bit later, but yes, we have LeGarrette Blount, Oregon legend, three-time Super Bowl champ, co-host of the Money Down with our friends James White, Sojourn Shelton, and Warren Herring, high school football coach. Man, this dude does everything. LG, so good to see you, brother.
It's good to see you guys, man. Appreciate y'all having me on. Always a pleasure.
Of course. Rocking some Eagles gear as well. You got to rep those rings. LG.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? I just got this recently when I went out there for the honorary captain deal. So I just got this recently, just breaking it in a little bit.
Looking good, man. Looking extra sharp, especially with those shades. I absolutely love to see it. Let's talk a little bit about this Oregon team this season because, they had the loss to Indiana there a couple weeks ago, bounced back in a big way against Rutgers last week, scoring like 1,000 points and putting up like 20,000 yards, it seemed. Every time that they touched the ball, they were scoring it. But I think the conversation has to begin with Dante Moore, right? Quarterback, he sat a year last year behind Dylan Gabriel after transferring from UCLA. What have you seen out of him, and how far do you think he can take this offense?
Man, the sky's the limit. He's a really, really good quarterback. He's really versatile. Obviously he's still pretty, in my eyes, pretty young. So I think that he has the opportunity, and he has the guys around him to put him in a trajectory where he can make a run this year. You got the receivers around you. You got a nice running back. I mean, you got probably the best tight end in the country. You got a solid foundation, a defense that plays really, really well. Even though a couple weeks ago we didn't look that good against Indiana, but I mean, you got a squad that has a chance to make a run here, man. He's gonna be a good quarterback in the future. He's really good right now, but he has the potential to be a really good quarterback in the future. Just like our high draft pick guys, the Herberts, you know what I'm saying? So those guys that get drafted in the first round, the Mariotas, I'm not putting him on that pedestal, but he has the upside for that for sure.
Well, something we've seen the Badgers not be able to stop is zone defense. Like, we get picked apart in the zone. Talk to us a little bit about his accuracy and kind of the Oregon offense. If we stop the run, are they just going to pick us apart in the pass?
Man, that zone defense is tough to play against a team like Oregon, man. And they got so many route concepts, and they got so many plays that attack the zone coverage, and they got a quarterback that understands what zone coverage looks like. You can only play so many zone coverages. It ain't like you got 1,000 zone coverages. You got cover one, which is man. But you got cover two, cover three, cover four, 5, 6, 9, whatever. He's seen enough of it and has played enough football to recognize it and diagnose it. I think what Oregon has problems is in the man coverage. Whenever we get man coverage and a little bit of pressure, that puts us in a bind, and that's tough. Especially if you got a young quarterback. So. If we go out there and do what we can do, we should be able to handle business, man. You guys are going to be tough, though, man. You can't underestimate anybody you play against. We've seen that a couple weeks ago against Indiana. I mean, that Indiana is Indiana, right? And they will continue to be Indiana in my eyes. So, this one really good year. I mean, I had to wear an Indiana shirt at practice a couple of weeks ago, so. Because we got one of our coaches that went there, James Brewer, went to the University of Indiana, so. It is what it is.
Oh, let's talk Dan Lanning, though. Dan Lanning obviously has come in, and, Oregon has had the money, had the resources, had the facilities now for a while. But in the NIL era, they seem to really be taking off. What is it about Dan Lanning that makes so many guys want to come play for him?
He's a player's coach. he can relate to a lot of the players, man. He's younger, and he's a very motivational guy. I mean, he's very good at speaking to the kids. He's very good at relating to them. He does things like jump in the pool with them whenever they commit to the school and like all these crazy things, right? That's a funny story because that kid committed and then decommitted the next day or so. But that's why people want to play for him. I think he's always transparent when he talks to the kids. He's honest with them. Hey, man, either you're gonna have an opportunity this year, you're gonna have an opportunity a couple years from now. Yeah, man, he's down to earth, man, and he doesn't sell dreams. He tells you the truth and he shoots it like it is. So that's why he has one leg up on a lot of recruiting, a lot of coaches.
I have to believe that telling kids the truth these days is not so easy. Maybe at the high school level, it's more easy. They can't really go anywhere, but I feel like that's a tough space. So I'm glad you brought it up. I have a question about. You guys have the coolest jerseys, the coolest helmets, the combinations, the Nike, the everything. How important is just that alone?
Oh my gosh, that's extremely important. It was one of the big factors in why I changed my mind about going to Florida State when I was leaving East Mississippi Community College. Last chance shoe, shout out, but. It definitely changed my mind because I committed to Florida State, and then I went on that visit to Oregon, and left with a garbage bag full of, left with a lot of stuff that you probably, in hindsight, you probably can't do that anymore, or you might be able to do that every time now. But man, that made me feel at home. I had a lot of questions for them that they answered, and they told us, we're gonna make sure your parents get out here to watch games and stuff like that. So. Just the family-oriented feel and the way that they take care of their players, I think that's a big factor. But the Nike and the Nike gear and the Oregon gear and the Jordan gear and all the shoes and stuff like that, man, it's hard to say no. If you're 18 years old, 19 years old, man, it's hard to say no.
You talk about Phil Knight. And Nike, man, obviously he was around the program and he is an absolute legend. Like, I'm sure you've met him a bunch of times. Like, what is his aura like? Like, he's someone that I've always wanted to meet, interact with, not just because of the way that he built Nike, but he kind of built Oregon football in a lot of ways with the amount of money that he has invested in that program, man. What is his sort of like relationship like, and just sort of what is it like to be around, someone like that who's a legend in our own time?
Man, his aura is on a million. I mean, everybody, for him to be as small as he is, like Phil isn't huge, right? He's not a big guy. He doesn't wear flashy jewelry. He doesn't wear flashy clothes. So he's like a regular old guy that wears jeans and a blazer and a T-shirt under the blazer like every day. I don't think I've ever seen him. Maybe he got 100,000 pair of the same jeans and 500 of the same blazers and shirts, but I've only seen him in some blue wash jeans or stone wash whatever jeans, a black blazer and a black shirt, a Nike hat, and some glasses. Every single time I've seen him. But his aura is on a million, man. Anywhere he goes into at Oregon, the state, I'm gonna just say not even Eugene, you immediately know who it's him. He doesn't walk around with a bunch of security, and I mean, you just know it's him. At least I do, and probably most people in Oregon do. And man, when he walks into a room, it's all eyes on him. All eyes on him. He's a billionaire, bro. Like, outside of just being Nike, he is a billionaire. So, he walks in the room and he demands everyone's attention, but he's just a down-to-earth guy. He don't say too much. And if you have a conversation with you or he talks to you, he's very attentive. Man, feel the man, bro. So is Tinker Hatfield, the guy that designs the shoes. All the Nike Jordan 3s and all the different Tinker Hatfield designs those, and he's the same way. He's a cool dude. They're cool dudes, man. They're awesome.
Wait, look, I got one question about the Jordan stuff. From my experience of being on the Lions for 1.5 minutes, maybe less, you had to be a super special human to be sponsored by Jordan, not just Nike, but by Jordan. Is that still the case? And were you sponsored by Jordan?
I wish. I was sponsored by Nike, and Nike had a lot of the stuff that Jordan athletes had. The only difference was Jordan athletes had custom Jordan cleats, and they got to design them, and they put their initials on them and their numbers on them and stuff like that. So that's really the only difference between Jordan and Nike is you get those cleats. Outside of that, I mean, I get as a Nike athlete, I get everything they get. Again, outside of the shoes. So like the hoodies, the shirts, the pants, the hats, everything. You just don't get the shoes. And obviously, as a Jordan athlete, that's what everyone wants, right? As a Nike athlete, that's what everyone wants. No one just want to be like, man, hey, I got the hoodie and the hat and the shorts and the shirt and da-da-da. And then you see the Jordan athlete walk out with the brand new fresh 11, retro 11s, the regular shoes, but they got their names engraved in them, and they got that's the only difference. I mean, it's a huge difference. Now, don't get me wrong, because if you buying these shoes, you guys know how much Jordans cost, right? Certain Jordans, right? They $150, $200, but certain ones gonna be $500. Some of them gonna be $1,500. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's the perk that they get. They don't got to pay for any of them.
I wish I could remember. He was a DB. He was awesome. He was on the Lions in 05. I think Roy Williams might have been.
05?
Yeah, DB.
DB?
Yeah. Talked a lot of smash.
05, I was in high school.
06. Sorry, 06 season. You were still in college though, but man,
yeah, I might have. Yeah, freshman.
He got a box, and not a little box, like a big box.
06.
And
a receiver, a DB.
DB.
It ain't been a lot of Jordan athletes.
This guy got the biggest box.
I don't know who that
seen.
is.
Beautiful stuff. I couldn't believe it. And he's like, man, none of you guys. It was hilarious. Like, he would just, I was a rookie. I was there for literally a minute. My coffee didn't even get cold by the time I got booted. And that's like one of the things I remember is this dude was sponsored by Jordan. And it was like the elite of the elite. I didn't even know this could happen. Wait, so you mentioned Eugene. For people, I've never been there. For people who are traveling, Wisconsin's our first game in Eugene. Our first game. No, it's not. Sorry. We did play in Eugene in 2001.
Yeah, AD went off in that game, though.
But I wasn't there.
Because you were a red shirt, you didn't get to travel.
So it's been 24 years since we've traveled back to Eugene.
2001?
2001. We lost 21-14.
We whooped y'all, huh?
It was a good game. It was I think 21-14, Matt Perkins.
31-28.
Oh, even better.
Oh, damn.
Listen, we were competitive. Now we're not so competitive. Now we're hoping it rains.
Hey, bro, y'all coldest years was with James and them, bro. Them was super cold.
Yes.
Bro.
Yes, absolutely.
James, Monty, I forget the other one. Melvin.
And John Clay
Melvin,
before
Monty,
that, yeah.
James, man, y'all was...
Listen, I was at the Rose Bowl, the Russell Wilson team versus that, or that's probably the best game I've ever been to in person in terms of the competition on the field. Like that, there were so many stars in that game, and it was so close. It was back and forth, and that was when Oregon debuted the chrome helmets. And I'm sitting in the stands at the Rose Bowl, and it's like blinding, those chrome helmets, especially like as the sun is like starting to set, just like it would just pop off those helmets. And I was blown away, especially because
that's y'all played against DeAnthony that year, huh?
Yep, that was crazy. But I got to ask you, what's your favorite Oregon uniform combo?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm
Matt Perkins. I was going to ask actually, which is the worst one you didn't like the most? So
the one that I played in. So from when I played or versus or what they were now.
Either one.
So when I played, I like the all black. Because it was raw. The all black was raw. We usually only wore it at nighttime. And it had the feathers. You know what I'm saying? We was looking nice and neat. Maybe I balled out in that. I don't know. But the black uniforms were the all black uniforms were the ones I liked the very, very most. And The ones I liked the absolute least were the ones that looked like a duck, like the orange socks with the orange cleats and the green top with the white pants. They were trying to imitate like the Oregon Duck, what he wears to games and stuff like. So they had the green top, the white pants, and the orange bottom. So it's like the orange bottom was like the duck's feet, and I hated it. I'm like, bro, you can't wear that again. It looked like. Did y'all ever see those KDs? No one ever wore them. I've never seen anyone wear them, but KD made some shoes after he tore his Achilles that went all the way up the calf.
I remember those.
You know what I'm talking about?
Those were hideous.
I don't think he even sold any of them.
Listen, though, I will say.
They only lasted for 1 year, and then he never made them again.
You look cold in those All Blacks.
That was hard, bro.
You look cold in those All Blacks, and then those were
that All Black went crazy, and then the duck one was just ass. But that All Black went crazy, bro. That was hard, bro. That was.
You know, it's funny when you watch an Oregon game, you're like, man, these jerseys are hideous, and then it grows on you when you keep watching, and you're like, the yellow combo, I'm like, oh, I don't know, and then you're like, wait. This is kind of awesome. So you might not like one, but I think as a fan watching football, you're like, there's no bad combo. Like they keep it real by switching it up so much, and it's kind of awesome.
They never were the same thing twice.
It's unbelievable. But I want to go back.
Go for it, bro.
To Eugene, the stadium. Huh? You know, tell us what Badgers can expect when they walk into the town. How exciting is it going to be on game day? What's the stadium going to be like? What's the feel?
Oh, it's going to be loud. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be like a jet engine. It's gonna be insane. Like, depending on how the game's going, bro, they might get to experience how it feels whenever they get loud enough for the stadium and to start shaking. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I think they could get there, Matt Perkins.
Yeah, it gets extremely loud, man. And I mean, once they start stumping the ground, or once they hit them with the jump around, jump. Yeah, they're gonna play all of that, and when they do, man, they gotta be prepared because it'll get crazy. It'll get crazy there, bro. And it's gonna be no matter who they play. It could be a FCS or whatever. It could be a Appalachian, or it could be a Portland State or whatever. They always bring that energy.
That's awesome.
Always. Like low key to the point to where sometimes the other team will feed off of it. You got to tell them like, y'all got to chill. Like for real. So I've been in the game where I've seen the other team start getting hyped with us, like, hey, and then next thing they break a 25-yard run the next play, and it's like, all right, y'all just chill, So, but it's crazy, Expect it to be extremely electric in there, and really, really, I mean, regardless of how the game goes, you guys will have fun.
So I was going to ask you, for our friends who are traveling out there, after the game, where's the spot to be in Eugene?
Ooh. Man, it's been a long time since been a long time. I don't even think I've been out in Eugene. Yeah, the way I went at probably don't even exist anymore.
It's not like Madison. It's the same bars. It's always the same bars in Madison.
Yeah, I mean, we had a place called Taylor's afterwards, but shoot, I think last time I asked about Taylor's, there was like, that place doesn't exist anymore. So that was a monumental place when I was there. Like, they had like things called the Husky Burger because we hated Washington and like, but I don't know. It might be gone now. They probably need to tell me where to go. After games now, I just go home.
Well, speaking of all that change, though,
I don't even know if I make it in between. I don't even know if I make it to the end of the game. I just head out.
We all know how crucial your data security is. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Data brokers take your data and profit off of it. Your data is a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details, leading to identity theft, phishing attempts, harassment, and more. But now you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. As someone who's worked in higher education for a long time, I know just how crucial data security is to make sure that student info stays private. But no matter what industry you're in, data security is one of the most important parts of your personal and professional life. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount to our listeners here on Believe in Badgers. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan by texting PRO, that's P-R-O, to 64000. The only way to get 20% off is by texting PRO to 64000. That's PRO to 64000. Message and data rates may apply. Hey folks, before we continue, I want to remind everyone tuning in that we continue to be proudly presented by Chris Anicetti and his entire team over at Oak Bridge Wealth Management. If you're a collegiate athlete or parent of a collegiate athlete navigating NIL opportunities, Chris and his team are here to help maximize your earnings and protect your future. We all know that athletes train hard to be the best on the field, but who's making sure they're winning off the field? Chris Anicetti and his entire team at Oak Bridge Wealth Management. That's who. They don't just manage your money. They handle your entire financial world. From building a rock-solid financial plan tailored for athletes to paying bills, budgeting, setting up LLCs, and securing financing for cars, equipment, and whatever else you need so that you can focus on your game. Your career is short. Make every dollar count. Oak Bridge Wealth Management, where athletes build lasting wealth. Get in touch with Chris on Instagram at oakbridgewm_Anicetti. That's oakbridgewm_ANICETE, or head on over to their website at oakbridgewealthmgmt.com. Chris Anicetti, Oak Bridge Wealth Management, they've been helping a lot of NCAA athletes and professional athletes get their money right. There's no one else better for this around that you are going to find. So make sure to get in touch with Chris and support the people who support us. All right, we're going to hop back into the show. Well, speaking of all this change, though, how do you feel about Oregon in the Big Ten? I mean, it's we all grew up with Oregon in the Pac-12, the Pac-12 Big Ten rivalry being a thing, the Rose Bowl every year. What are your thoughts on, Oregon and Washington, UCLA, USC coming into the Big Ten? And sort of how do you feel like that has affected the program either positively or negatively?
Man, I love it. I mean, I'm an original Pac-10 guy, but the Pac-10 was up and down, right? Some years you might get a really good USC team that year. But Oregon was always going to be the dominant one in that. That's like the New England Patriots for the AFC East for as long as I can remember until Josh Allen took it over. So that was how Oregon was in the Pac-10. So I'm actually happy that we went to the Big Ten because you get more competitive. You get bigger teams. You get teams that's going to make us tougher because we've always had problems stopping the run. A team that's going to commit to it at least. The Toby Gerhardts and the Tyler Gaffneys and all these it goes on, Christian McCaffreys and stuff. These are Stanford players. Like these, you know what I'm saying? Like these ain't like Alabama. This is Stanford that's running the football. So we've always had a problem with running the football. So I think getting here into the Big Ten, knowing that most of these teams are going to pound the rock, is going to make us better. And I think that the competition level rises because of the teams that are in the Big Ten. I love it. I love the move. I love the move for us. I can't speak for UCLA and USC because, I mean, they're still obviously having a hard time. But for USC probably not as much. But for us, I think it's a great move. And do away with the Pac, man. Do away with the Pac. They're just throwing teams in there now just to make it just to have the Pac-10 again. They're just throwing teams in there.
They got teams from Texas in there, like starting next year and stuff like that. That's absolutely wild to me. Makes absolutely no sense. Looking at Oregon's schedule going forward,
Texas going to the Big Ten.
I mean,
or Texas going to the Pac-10, the Pac-12.
No, it's like UTEP. It's like UTEP or UT San Antonio.
It's a money grab now. You got to recover the money from the Pac. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But I I personally like our move. It's going to be more competitive and it's better for us in the long run.
Looking at Oregon's schedule, obviously right now with the loss to Indiana, no longer in the driver's seat to make it to the Big Ten title game. But, Oregon should be a big favorite in the rest of their games. Obviously, our friends over at FanDuel this week have Oregon favored by 31.5 against Wisconsin, which to me is low. Like to me, that needs to be a 40-point line. Honestly, the fact that Wisconsin has been shut out back-to-back weeks at home. Now they have to go on the road to Eugene. To me, that should be like a 40.5 point line.
But when they got shut out, what was the scores? What was the two scores?
37-0 to Iowa, 34-0 to Ohio State. Like it was absolutely brutal.
I don't know, man. I mean, that 31. That after hearing those two scores, 31.5 spread don't look too bad. 40 is Ohio State didn't put up 40. That's 40 a lot.
Yeah, but Ohio State Ohio State had their backups in like early third quarter. Like Wisconsin had 144 total yards. 50 of those were on the last drive when literally Ohio State was just throwing walk-ons on the field.
LeGarrette, let's just say that our punter had the longest run of the season and the game.
And that was 20 yards. Like
20 yards.
It was
a methodical butt kicking, and that's why I think, if it was competitive, they would have scored 70. They didn't need to. So wait.
Right.
So to get into this FanDuel, I actually think 31 makes sense, but I want to ask you, it's supposed to rain Friday and Saturday. What does that do to the offense, to the team, now to the spread? That has to be taken into consideration.
It's gone down 3 points since you and I recorded on Monday, Bernie. It was 34.5.
They're listening to us.
Yes, they are.
No, okay.
Yeah, hey, they are. I'll say this, man. There's a saying in Eugene that goes, "It never rains in Autzen Stadium." So, with that being said, I don't think our game plan changes. I think we go in there and try to execute the exact same game plan that we had. And I mean, if it goes any lower than 31.5 points, I'm gonna put a lot of money on it.
Because I like Oregon at that 31.5 point number because we know they can score. And they
that
can
make me nervous, man. Because they had
ways. But
I think they had us minus like 14 against Indiana or something like.
Yeah, it was something like that. I want to say like 13.5.
Yeah, but we got our whoop.
But
so
looking forward on this schedule, you got to travel at Iowa here. You got Wisconsin, then you got to bye. Then you travel to Iowa. You get Minnesota at home, USC at home, and finish the game obviously with that rivalry game against Washington. Like I said, like Oregon's going to be favored in all of these games. They win all these out. They're going to make the college football playoff again. How do you tell us like what that Washington rivalry game is like and what that rivalry means? Because I think a lot of Big Ten fans don't really understand, just how much that game means to both schools.
Man, I would go out on a limb and say, man, it's right below the Oregon State game. Like they're damn near neck and neck. Obviously, Oregon State is an in-state rivalry, so it holds more weight. But they're neck and neck, and we have a saying that at Oregon, "Huck the Fuskies." So you can do with that what you will,
Yep.
And I mean, we don't like them. We don't like their players. We don't like their coaches. We don't like their atmosphere. We don't like anything about them. And they always talking the most. They talk so much. You can be beaten by 30 and they just going to still talk the most trash. They're always going to have something to say. And I don't know. I just don't like those guys. I don't like those guys at all. And I want to beat them by a lot of points. And that rivalry runs deep. There's been some animosity there for a long time. Going all the way back to the early 2000s and, the early 90s, that rivalry runs deep. And we have nothing good to say about them. And
they ain't got much good to say about y'all either.
Nah, so I hope we beat the shit out of them. So
I love that.
I could blast that everywhere and post that everywhere because, man, they're on a high horse, man. I've never been to the University of Washington on a visit or anything like that, but man, I swear, boy, they feel like they're like an Ivy League school or something. Like, oh man, we're too good for you guys, or you know what I'm saying? We bust y'all every year. So
I love that.
Those guys.
Burns.
So Wisconsin's having a really tough year. I'm sure you've seen it's all over every platform on earth. What's your thoughts as someone who's kind of an outsider to, I mean, I know you're friends with a lot of Wisconsin guys, but what are your thoughts on what's going on? Do you have any like opinions about how to fix this kind of mess that's going on?
Man, the Wisconsin of old that I know have always gotten a big cornbread fed line, about two backs that are really, 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 really nice, and a quarterback that is a game manager. And man, it does. And I don't know what y'all have recruited here recently, but the O line is still big.
But they're not as physical.
But they're not as physical. They're not as strong. The run game ain't as dominant as it used. I'm telling you, man, you guys used to control games with just the run game alone. You would have Melvin with 20 carries, Monty with 15, and James with 10, and that'd be a whole football game with 22 passes, 20 passes, or whatever. And I don't think that you guys have that. I don't know. I don't even know what y'all recruiting tactics are or anything like that. But I know that you guys, and history says, if you guys go get a good stable of running backs and some cornbread-fed linemen, you guys are always going to be right there.
Yeah.
I mean, just summed up exactly Wisconsin from a 2008 graduate of Oregon. Like, everyone knows the culture. Everyone knows the game plan. And yet we have deviated so much from it. So
I mean, Bernie and I are so
college football is changing though. Right? It ain't about ground and pound anymore. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody wants to go out and throw 40 passes a game. Everybody wants to score 55 points, and nobody's okay with winning a game 21-17, 20-6, 14-8. No one's okay with that because in college football, if you don't score a lot of points, if you don't beat the teams that you're supposed to beat by 30 or 40, if you don't beat them by 30 or 40, you don't get the credibility of winning the game, right? So if Oregon go win a game against Wisconsin 21-18, right? We're not going to move up. That's for damn sure, And depending on the teams that play below us, how they beat their teams, we might around and drop.
Yeah.
So it goes to I think it goes to being able to beat opponents in a fashionable manner. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way that I feel like y'all can fix it. It hurts for y'all because y'all ain't gonna be beating teams 35-0, 40-0. Like when y'all do win games, they're gonna be close.
And we never really did that. It wasn't part of the fabric of Wisconsin was to wear people down and win in the fourth quarter by 7 or 10 or 3. So
but y'all used to do it though.
Used to do it.
Y'all used to do back in the days. They used to only lose like 1 or 2 games a season at that point, right? If the college football playoffs was around back then, Wisconsin going into the college football playoffs every year with that group from you guys, you and James and Melvin and all those guys, Russell, right? They go into the college football playoffs with those close 21-17 wins or whatever, right? And they're still gonna be tough as hell to beat. But now it's about scoring 50 a game, man, and you guys ain't paying no quarterback to come to Wisconsin and throw that. Or y'all ain't paying no quarterback $2 million or $5 million to come there and throw it 40 times a game in hopes that y'all can, beat a team 55-10 or something. Because who's your receivers? I don't follow y'all heavily, but I mean I know good receivers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Wisconsin got one receiver, and he's a 5th year. He's going to be gone after this year, and so but they can't even get him the ball.
What underclassmen? Are they good?
They can't even get him the ball.
They're okay. I think they're getting better. We just can't get them the ball. Yeah. What do we have
Right. See, and that's tough, right? In order for you to score all these points, you got to have one of those quarterbacks, man. That's what college football is now. It's like a poor man's NFL.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a poor man's NFL. If you don't got the money to pay a kid to come to your school, a kid ain't coming to your school.
I'm not gonna lie. Perfectly.
Back in the day, though, I would have loved to seen you run behind that Wisconsin offensive line.
I would have loved to do it too, and they were.
I mean, you guys
were dominant.
You
guys
had good lines at Oregon, but when we did,
bro.
You didn't have Wisconsin like that era Wisconsin offensive line. I mean, you look at the guys that you mentioned, James and Melvin and Monty, the guys that those ran behind. They were running behind 5 NFL offensive linemen at all times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I mean, with your physical style of running, man, you would have fit right in. You would have been scoring touchdowns just like Monty. Man, that would have been great. But I got to ask you, what is your favorite, or like when you look back on it, like what's your favorite moment or your proudest moment wearing an Oregon uniform?
My proudest moment wearing an Oregon uniform. It's a good one.
That's what I do.
I would say my absolute proudest moment wearing an Oregon uniform was, so we played against Oregon State. My first year at Oregon, we played against Oregon State, and I was looking to break the single season rushing touchdown record, I think. At the time, I think it was like 16 or 17. And I think I had like 16 touchdowns, 17 touchdowns or whatever. So I needed one touchdown to break it. And my OG, Jeremiah Johnson, was having one of those games and had a 80-something yard touchdown, a 70-something yard. He was a senior, so he was having one of those games. So I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, bro, I don't know if I'm gonna even get a chance to break this. I want him to stay in, and he's a senior. I want him to stay in and rush for 300-400 yards, but I still want to get my touchdown, right? And so he get to going, and I'm kind of getting a little nervous. And then Coach Campbell comes to me and was like, "Hey man, we're gonna get you in there to get you going and get your touchdowns or whatever." Anyways, at the end of the day, I ended up having like 15 carries or whatever. But my proudest moment was getting in there and scoring that tying touchdown to break the record, and I mean, continuously push the record was awesome, but breaking that record at a school that was as prominent as Oregon and that is known for everything is known for and sending players into the NFL and all that stuff, to break a record that any of those guys had there was a special moment for me.
That's awesome.
That's very cool.
So scoring that touchdown against Oregon State, and then afterwards we put the roses in our mouth because in order for them to go to the Rose Bowl, they had to win that game. And I think we beat the out of them like 50-something to 20. And after the game was over, everybody threw roses on the field. All the Ducks fans threw roses on the field. Like, hey, here go y'all roses for the Rose Bowl. Like, all of them threw the roses on the field. And I grabbed me one and I put it in my mouth, got poked by the thorn and I put it in my mouth and turned over to the camera. You might could find a picture of this. Turned over to the camera and was like, all right, y'all. Hey, if we ain't going Rose Bowling, nobody going Rose Bowling. That was my proudest moment, man. Oregon State, 2008.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So cool. That's fantastic. All right. Well, you're a busy man. We got to get you out of here, but we cannot thank you enough for spending some time with us here on Believe in Badgers. LG, where can people find you online? Obviously, should be checking out the Money Down podcast now that you are officially fourth co-host of this show, which I, as a producer of that show, I am absolutely loving. So where else can people check you out?
Man, hey, man, like you said, Matt, man, the Money Down podcast. Obviously, you can catch me on Believe in Badgers. If y'all ever need me, I'll jump on here. Man, y'all catch me on, hey, man, just follow me on Instagram, follow me on X. And lock in to what we have in store in the future, especially for the Money Down podcast, fellas. We locked in. It's going to be fun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We appreciate that. We appreciate everyone tuning in here to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by FanDuel and Oak Ridge Wealth Management. Bernie and I will be back again next week with a Monday Morning Fullback, breaking down whatever happens in Eugene, and much more. Bye week next week, so we got some other special guests lined up that are a little outside of football. We're going to be talking a little Badger volleyball, which is taken off right now. Jake Coco will be back to talk about that. Got some other
men's volleyball.
Oh yeah. No, women's volleyball. Women's volleyball. Women's volleyball.
Yeah.
Women's volleyball is a top 10 program every year. Top 10 program every year. They're rolling. They're rolling.
Hell yeah, bro. That's nice. That's awesome, bro. I remember when Oregon first started their baseball team. We was a top baseball team for the first 4 or 5 years, and then all the kids that went to Oregon, because it was our first time being a baseball team, we got all the top prospects, right? We got all the 5 stars and 4 stars. We got them all there. And then after those first 4 years, it was like, all right, we're just a normal baseball program again. Like, I feel you on that. I appreciate you, Matt and Matt. Well, I'm gonna say Bernie and Perko.
Sure.
I appreciate you guys, man.
Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate everyone tuning in. And as always, until next time, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
Let's go.